to Knights at the Round Table, a round-table discussion on speculative fiction books and film. Hi everybody, welcome to the next episode of Silver Stag Studios. Sorry we're running a bit late, we're still figuring out the technology stuff. My bad. Today we are discussing the 1927 film Metropolis. It was recently in 2008 they found a bunch of the lost footage and then sort of reconstructed it. So that's the version that we're discussing currently. It's the one that was post 2008, the reconstructed version. It was 2.5 hours long, basically. I'm going to start with general impressions. Oh, whoops, sorry. Let me introduce the guests. I am sitting at the table with Eric and with Nate, and now I'm going to start with general impressions of the film. Nate, you get to go first.
So I've not seen this version because I am only filling in, and I saw the original, the short, theatrical release version a while ago. And my impressions from when I saw it was that it is a seminal film for a reason. The visuals were just amazing, especially for the time period. This was... this is a timely film right now, 92 years later. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Eric?
Before I say general impressions, I find it, every time we do an old movie, absolutely amazing that we're sitting here with all this technology that the filmmakers back then would kill for.
Right.
And we're talking about it in a basement. And this is considered the low-tech version.
Oh, so low-tech. Sorry, guys.
I will be completely honest, the first hour of the movie is slow. But I got into it after that. I see where it is the foundation for so much that came after it. And the special effects were better than some early Doctor Who episodes 40 years later. But it has some historical issues.
Yeah, I will agree with that. It was...
Yeah.
For me, it was a great film, but I also had a lot of issues with...
The female character?
Yeah,
Oh
and the whole virgin / mother / slut sort of dichotomy that it doesn't matter which way you dissect this film, it's basically the patriarchy and hell for everybody else. So, yeah, I actually really enjoyed the film. I thought that it was really well done. I was super impressed with the special effects, given that it was 1927. And I really kind of like the idea behind it, sort of ish, except it's far more centrist than I would be, I think.
Yes, the conclusion was definitely disappointing. But the whole leading up to this...
Yeah, I really did like... it does feel true that between the head and the hands there must be the heart. Like, the heart has to mediate basically everything you think, say, and do. Which I kind of liked that idea-ish, but I don't know, it just felt...
I object to there being different classes of people.
Yes.
There's no head, there's no heart, they're all people.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I agree with that. But, like, the general
idea that they both present valid worldviews and valid points.
Yes,
like,
also disagree with that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it being way more centrist than I...
Yes.
I was thinking this was very more European. Because
Yes.
Canadian, American, and Australian, like, the colonies tend to have their heroes more along the lines of the epic hero. Farm boy from nothing rises up to be the greatest person in the land, while older European models tend to have the reasonable son of royalty taking control.
I don't know, it felt...
Like musketeers and stuff like that. They're all descended from someone important. Sort of this new Star Wars attitude.
Yeah, it's the benevolent rich guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah, I have an issue with that as well.
There's also a lot about the background of this movie that is disturbing.
I found it incredibly German. The emphasis on the need for work was...
Yeah.
I mean, No.
Well, this was during the Greatest Depression in
Yeah.
Germany. Most of the people who were hired, like the kids who looked like they were malnourished, were hired because they were malnourished.
Yeah.
They managed to find 5,000 people who were willing to shave their heads for a 5-minute scene. They had 37,000, not 100,000 extras on this movie. But like the treatment of the actors was horrible.
Was it? I didn't delve into anything.
The actress who played
Bridget?
she was in the robot. And she
yeah.
Oh my God.
had cuts and scrapes all over her body to the point where they had to stop filming for her to heal up a little.
Oh my god.
The scenes in Underground with the kids took 2 months. In the flood, 2 months to film.
God.
The actors, some of them got hypothermia, some kids almost died. Like, this is the way they used to build temples and stuff. People died.
Yeah.
This is not to mention the main actress was a fervent member of the Third Reich Party, the Nazi Party.
Was she?
This was also Hitler's favorite film. They took it as a perfect example of what society should be.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah, so
That
the director
the
was
conclusion definitely reinforces all of that.
yeah.
the director was approached by Goebbels himself and was like, "We decide who's Jewish," because the guy was Jewish. You can go far in our group, and the guy went, "Oh, sounds good," and ran for America the next night. Like, he got the hell out of there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, there's a lot in this that shows the similar of what's going on in the States now and what was going on in Germany then. The lower class being upset and the higher class promising to fix things when they won't.
No, obviously not.
Yeah.
Because the lower class deserve to be there for some reason.
Well,
I don't know the mental gymnastics required to
There's
believe
also
that.
the whole, like, you know, the lower class revolting will only harm themselves narrative that
Oh my
really
god, that they were
chased me.
stupid enough to leave their kids? Like, these people work on the machines every day, and they didn't realize they would, like, literally drown their kids?
Yeah, that's... It paints them as unintelligent, as undeserving, as, you know, all of the things that currently the rich paint the poor as.
Yeah.
Although they did paint the rich the same way. As lustful
Yes.
wastes of
But
space
they
that
also-
will be
But also the
manipulated
hero
by
was
women.
the rich boy.
Yes,
And
that's
they also
true.
painted them as the benefactors.
Yeah, that's true.
And they showed in the end that, oh, well, like, the poor people, you know, they're only hurting themselves. So the rich have to be there to,
Yeah.
like, reason with the poor people.
And then, yeah, it was a woman can turn people murderous in both societies.
Oh,
It was-
yeah, was that... See, that bugged me. Like,
There was a lot.
although
Of
her dancing was
1927.
hilarious.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, her characterization of the two characters was pretty cool. Like, I can see the beginnings of how people act as robots. Like, the old robot dance and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I saw...
Yeah, no, her acting
start.
was very good.
Yeah.
And you can see that these people are you know, they're drawn from theater. They're theater actors.
Yes. Oh, you can tell by how close they got to each other's faces.
Yeah.
Every
Well, you
5 seconds, you're like,
That's one of the things that I really like about old cinema. Sometimes it's nonsensical, and you're just sitting there going, what is even going on? But you can always tell that it has its roots in theatre.
Yes.
From the makeup, to the set design, to like the really big
The
sort
facial
of
expressions.
facial
too.
expressions and big body
overblown,
movements. Yeah. Theatre has no room for subtlety, really, otherwise the audience is going to miss it. Particularly those suckers up in the bleachers. Like, they're going to miss it. So you can't really be as subtle in theatre.
okay, just checking that I can still see myself move.
Wow. Subtle
Yeah, they
in theatre.
definitely very much embrace the Stanislavski.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was... I
Yeah,
really enjoyed
definitely.
the theatricalness of the...
And I like that, unlike some others, like we did Nosferatu, and I found that the script was a lot tighter, despite being 2.5 hours long. If they talked about something, like the girl Hell, it didn't disappear. Nosferatu had a lot of throwaway lines where you're like, is this supposed to be history, or is this supposed to be part of the story? And that they followed Chekhov's rules for this.
Huh. Yeah, no, enjoyed Nosferatu more. I think.
Oh yeah, I did too.
I
but
think it was
that's
because the themes in
because it
Nosferatu were
was-
not nearly as offensive to me as many of the
Yeah,
themes in
see, well,
Well,
Metropolis.
there's also the fact that this was what I would call pseudo-intellectualism done poorly. So
like
it
all
was.
pseudo-intellectualism. So this is what
This is the that guy in university that or college that you talked to who thought he knew everything about everything and went on and was
This is every
totally-
devil's advocate on the internet.
pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah. Do you know H.G. Wells reviewed the film?
I did not know that.
I did not know
He
that.
said it was silly, reductive, and overly simplistic.
I agree with that.
I mean,
And
yeah.
I was like, wow, you've been burned by H.G. Wells because he used the exact same themes 30 years earlier
Yeah.
in Time Machine. Have we done that?
Time Machine? No, I don't think so.
No, we should. That was a fun book. I
Is
mean,
it in the bowl? We should put it in the bowl.
yeah.
It,
Where's the bowl?
Speaking of the bowl, it's behind you. I forgot to bring it out. Excuse us a moment. Interlude!
While she's doing that, we can talk about random facts.
Okay. I'm done.
The mechanical hand was also the inspiration for the mechanical hand in Doctor Strangelove.
You can see a lot
Yeah.
of the roots of many visuals in cinema.
R2D2
from that
was
movie.
based off of this robot.
Yeah, that, you can tell.
R2D2?
No,
No,
sorry,
no,
C3PO.
I was like, whoa,
C3PO.
It really
Sorry.
looked like
Whoops,
C3PO.
wrong one. C3PO.
The other one.
Yeah, all droids look alike.
That's racist.
Speciest, I'm sorry.
That's the whole. Never mind. Anyway, there is. I was watching a Let's Play of a game called Layers of Fear 2. And there is. I hadn't watched Metropolis before watching this Let's Play, but there is a scene in Layers of Fear 2 where it's exactly like a bunch of people pulling the levers backwards and forwards in time, and then and there's the mouth, Moloch, like the demon machine that just swallows workers in order to feed itself, basically. That exact imagery appeared in this game, Layers of Fear 2, and I didn't make the connection because I hadn't seen it until that scene, and I was just like, oh, wow! Like, genuinely had a knock-on effect. Like, it was.
It's one of those films that is embedded in the cultural consciousness.
Definitely.
Yeah, where you don't even notice
Layers
it
of
until...
Fear might have been quoting something else that quoted this. You know,
Yeah.
like
Oh no,
a lot
it
of
was
time.
way too
Yeah?
similar for
Okay.
it to be anything
There's
else.
a lot
but-
of visuals in films now that are inspired by slightly older films that are totally picked from this film directly. And then this is what I mean. Like the redeeming value of this movie for me is the cinematography was absolutely outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
Just amazing. You know, there's a lot of things that I was like, how did they do that back
Yeah.
then?
The screen effect.
Yeah.
They designed a completely new way of doing it. They had to have a matte screen with a projector in the background,
My God.
like underneath, and then project it up. So, like, it's way better than the way I thought they used. Some other places used to film two things and then scratch out on one film and then combine it. But
Yeah.
no, this
That's
was
super
like
labor
all
intensive.
full special effects. Like a flat screen with an image on it to us is nothing. But back then, to get a projector strong enough and
Oh yeah.
I really liked, narratively speaking, how they incorporated some of like the surrealist movement into
Yes.
the film. I really enjoyed the more surreal moments. I'm like, I can see that influence. That makes me happy.
yeah.
Like the vision of Moloch swallowing the workers.
Yeah. I like the influences of Mary Shelley. 'Cause, I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
Absolutely. There was a big Frankenstein parallel there that I was like, oh, Mary Shelley did it better.
yes.
Yes, she did.
Okay, I'm sorry. This might sound terrible, but if it's written by a man and written by a woman, usually the woman will handle it better.
As a man, I agree with that.
As a woman, I guess. I don't know.
Especially the older they go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people neglect to remember that women were some of the first pioneers of speculative fiction. So.
Some people
Fiction
tend to
in
neglect to
general.
remember that women are people.
Oh yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
I mean, there is that. Just
Yeah.
sip my tea and mind my own business. Just superimpose Kermit the Frog.
Now I got it.
Oh, jeez, Eric. You need to up your meme game.
Sorry. Living memes are just one step above me. I'm obviously becoming a Luddite old man.
It's really too bad about the conclusion, though, because a lot of what was leading up to it, like the workers being treated so unfairly, and you know,
Literally worked to death.
literally worked to death, and the, you know, the rich people there being blissfully unaware, or like probably definitely aware but just uncaring,
Willfully
that all of
ignorant,
this
yeah.
is going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
A very common theme, not a very common ending.
I
Well-
mean, yes and no, because, I mean, without dialogue, the unions would not have gotten anywhere, but there was a whole lot of fighting and death even, and awful things that happened in the meantime. Like, we had to fight to get the weekend.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
no, I meant the ending of them getting together and like, okay, we've broken half the city. Okay, we can't live with it. Shake hands? Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not a common ending. Not to
No.
the Russian, the Chinese,
No.
the American, any of the revolutions.
I mean, you can look at movies like
The British one, maybe, but that's special.
the Potemkin, you know, that Russian movie about the same age, I would say, about like the crew starving and having to eat like you know, maggot infested food and all that, and you can see the difference between like the rise of fascism and the rise of communism, which I won't get started on.
One transitions into the other in our world lately.
Yes, but you can see where the values are different, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, have either of you seen it's the historical drama, it's British, it's, oh God, what do they call them? It's a mini-series, North and South.
I have not, but I keep getting it recommended to me.
No.
Richard Dean Anderson, oh my God.
I'm in.
Not him! Not him!
Jack O'Neill? I'm in!
Oh my God, what's his name? Richard Armitage plays the hero, and he's the sort of he's the guy who owns the means of production, basically. And it's during the transition in the textile industry to automation. And so a lot of people were losing their jobs, but a lot of people were dying on the jobs in the cotton mill from cotton lung and that kind of thing.
So it's US? North South? Or British?
British,
Okay.
North South. So he's
Just
from...
because it's BBC or British doesn't mean it isn't about every other country in the world.
He's definitely from like the north, and they did the whole coming to the realization that unions have a point and they need to work together thing
Oh.
far better than Metropolis did. I mean, still not great, but far better.
Unions are important.
Yes, they are.
I've had so many arguments about that.
There's a fabulous Scottish folk band by the name of Steeleye Span from like the 60s, 70s. They have a song called Blackleg Miner. And it's all about how important unions are. But it was about coal miners, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, Divergence.
Totally different movie.
Yes.
Yes.
There's so many pieces to pick apart about this movie, but
One of the things that really struck me was the whole Madonna complex.
Oh my God, yes. From the
virgin
very
and the
first
whore.
time
I was
that
like,
you see
Yeah,
her.
the Virgin and the Whore. Yeah, the
Yeah.
very first time you're just like,
She's surrounded
they
with
call her
children.
as a saint.
right? And yeah, exactly. And naturally, of course, she's a pure Christian girl.
Yes,
And
I'm always shocked.
The rich people are like this hedonistic Dionysian cult, basically.
I'm always shocked with old science fiction and how Christian it is. Like, even old Star Trek, there's some episodes I'm like, I'm sorry, wait, where did that come from? Like, I watched one where they met Apollo, and Kirk said, we're happy with just one God, thank you very much.
I'm not.
And I was like, sorry, he said the one God. And I was like, I don't remember Star Trek having religion.
I don't either, and I've watched a lot of it.
There's a few hints of it in the old one, and it's more cultural dripping, I guess would be the proper word. They tried to keep it out, to make it a logical, but it's not always easy.
At least Babylon 5 did it right.
Oh, I love that episode where you meet all the religions of Earth.
Yeah.
I have not watched.
Yeah. That's fine.
I got the eye.
Well, yeah, it's one of Nathan's favorites.
It is, it is.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. I will endeavor to watch it if I'm not playing Skyrim.
Is there any way to watch it other than having the DVDs?
I don't know.
I'll have to look it up. You can always borrow my DVDs.
Yeah.
Sweet. Excellent.
So yeah, I'm always shocked by how like something so far in the future can be so Christian. I don't know why it surprises me. I guess because I'm used to a certain amount of
I also...
atheism in my sci-fi.
Yeah. It also really went ham on the whole Christian persecution complex.
Oh gosh.
Because the workers were Christian, clearly. They were going to chapel underneath the workers' city.
Yeah.
The catacomb.
Yes, in the city of the dead. And, of course, they're the persecuted ones, right? They're the hard-working, diligent ones who are being trodden on by, I don't know, these heathens who were having fun with their bodies up the top or something.
I did like the change from later on in sci-fi where nothing was blamed on the machines. I think it started later in the 50s or 60s and on to now where
Oh, the machines
all
were at
of
fault?
modern problems are because of machines' fault. If we just go back to easier times, you see it with all the memes about we don't pay attention to each other and there's cell phones.
I'm not sure that was part of the premise of that movie.
No, it wasn't.
No, it
That's what I'm
wasn't.
saying. It was refreshing
Oh,
not
okay,
to have
good,
that.
good.
The
Yeah.
movie had none of that, and it was nice.
It was basically our fault.
Yeah, it was
Yup,
all
morons.
humans being idiots.
Yeah.
Which is something science fiction had until later. Mid 20th century
I mean-
is when they started blaming tech. As opposed to the humans behind it.
Well, I don't know. In the 80s, there was a rash of incompetent / evil military style movies.
Oh, yeah, of course. No, that's not the 80s. That started in the 50s. All the The Blob and 50-Foot Woman and all those. It came from outer space. Wait, you haven't seen that one. Which one did we see with Klaatu Barata Nikto?
Army of Darkness?
Yeah, isn't it Army
Older.
of Darkness?
No, Army of Darkness stole it from this movie. It's the one with the big
Oh!
robot.
Oh!
Robbie, not Robbie.
Wait, I know what you're talking about.
We did it with Rob.
Yes.
He actually didn't hate it.
Yes! I can't remember.
Was it The Forbidden Planet?
No. It was the one that they remade with Keanu Reeves later on.
Yes, the Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah.
The Day the Earth Stood Still. Thank
Yes,
you.
that had a lot of the incompetent, stupid military in it, and that was 50s.
That's true. That's
Keanu
true.
did it, I know about it.
I should have just started with Keanu. He wasn't in it.
We should all just start with Keanu.
Yes.
Oh my. I'm not complaining.
He is the internet's golden boy currently.
Poor Bob Ross.
Oh, Bob Ross will live on forever in our hearts.
Yes.
And in our happy trees.
I
Okay,
just envision myself, I'll give you a happy little tree. This isn't working!
Sounds true to form.
It's very on brand for me, I think.
This is the difference between Bob Ross and Tolkien. There are no happy trees in Tolkien. They're all sad, depressed, or angry.
I mean, for good reason. Have you seen the Entwives?
They lost their wives.
Well, their wives just got fed up.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And just
they fed
walked
up.
away. Fuck this nonsense.
That's a whole level of misogyny we're not going to talk about.
Yeah, so I wasn't a huge fan of the whole
Yeah,
the Virgin
versus horror
complex,
yeah.
the Madonna complex.
Yeah.
Didn't particularly like it.
No, and those were the scenes that were kind of the longest, where her hilarious dancing and the men fighting over her and the lusty faces. I was like, oh my god, do I have to see more lusty faces? Okay, this is going to sound terrible. The biggest problem I had with this movie, thankfully there wasn't a big cast, but I had trouble telling the men apart.
They were very similar in look. Very
Holy
similar.
crap, were they similar. Like, what was his name? 11811.
Oh,
the worker.
Charlie? Was it Charlie? Something like that.
like that. But I didn't realize he's the one who threw himself in front of the knife to save
Oh, you didn't?
John, because I didn't recognize him right away. It
Oh.
wasn't until I paused and I'm like, wait, is that the guy? The
Oh.
guy?
I didn't have any problem recognizing him.
It's something to do with, like,
They
European white males that kind of all look alike.
It's also the makeup, to be fair.
The makeup and the darkness, but
all... That
like,
definitely is racist. They all look
white
alike.
people look alike.
No, I didn't have any issue with... I mean, it was all very white, but I mean...
There were 200
Oh!
Asian extras and 500 African American.
One thing I
African extras.
really did not appreciate was when Maria, the robot Maria, was dancing on stage, and her little thing was held up by the people of African descent. When the Seven Deadly Sins came alive, that people who have African descent became the Seven Deadly Sins. And I'm like, no.
That must not have been in my version.
Oh,
No.
it might have been in
It
reconstructed
might have been
scenes because
Yeah.
I watched that and I went, ooh, no,
There's
no,
this
no, no,
whole
no, no, no.
scene where he has a dream of a great beast holding a woman aloft and then being held up by stuff, and then you see it and they turn into the sins. And you're
Yeah,
like,
it was, but
Yeah, I don't remember this at all.
these African servants basically were just sitting there for decoration, holding something up that she was dancing on, transform into the Seven Deadly Sins.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that.
I also hate the trope of, I was a hedonist my entire life, but then I found love!
And God.
And through it, God. Like, he's in the catacombs, and he looks at the Seven Deadly Sins, and he's like, before I met Maria, you would have swayed me, but not now.
Or something along those lines.
So what is it with, like, men finding love by just looking at a girl?
Well, he did
You
talk
are
with
asking
her.
the wrong person.
She was surrounded by children.
And she looked like a Madonna. Okay.
Yeah. And, I mean, he's a rich dude, so he doesn't really exactly have to follow through with most things.
Yeah,
You wonder in these kinds of stories whether he's actually in love or if it's just the infatuation of the week that turned into a revolution by accident.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little quick for love, to be honest.
I mean, he loves her before speaking to her.
A little?
Okay, yes. That
He's bored with his game, sees a pretty woman and goes underground.
His game, by the way, was chasing a perfectly beautiful woman around that he was eventually going to bed, it seemed like.
Yeah. But she was unattainable. She was virgin, Mary, whatever.
Yeah. She was the
She was
Madonna,
the wrong Mary.
surrounded by children, who was named Maria.
That was not subtle.
No, not at all. Although I found it interesting that the father was Frederson and the son was Freder.
I know! Freder, son of Freder's son, basically.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, I did. I laughed hysterically. I'm like, Freder, son of Freder's son? Like,
It's been a very long time since I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
Alright, we're closing up on half an hour now, so final thoughts and star rating, Eric.
On a film geek level, this is extremely important for the foundation of science fiction and fantasy, film techniques, and so on and so forth. On a social level, it is more dated than my outfit from the 90s. So I would say 2.5.
That's fair. That's fair. Nathan?
3 for me. The cinematography again is just gorgeous in that movie. It is
the music. I'm sorry. The music's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
the real music.
Their version is different than my version.
Yeah.
The original music was all like really well composed and set to the beat. And,
But yeah, it's a beautiful piece of work, and it definitely deserves to live on. And the story could have been handled a lot better. It tried to tackle some themes which have remained current since capitalism was a thing, but it did not end up handling them well.
in that way, it sort of set the tone for science fiction for the next 100 years.
That is totally fair.
Movies.
Okay, so same for me. I'm going to give it about 2 stars for that reason. It was really beautiful to look at, And I know that there were some tricks that they used that just were super imaginative and brilliantly creative and absolutely genius.
It was a piece of art.
It was a piece of art, that's it.
Yes.
But I'm not thrilled with the story or many of the depictions, except for like when they brought in like surrealism and stuff like that. I enjoyed that part, again, part of the art. But the story itself was nonsense. And a lot of the imagery they used was nonsense. So, yeah, in terms of story, it would have gotten 1 star. But because it's such a masterpiece of filmmaking, I bumped it up to 2 because, I mean, yeah.
So it's not replacing Doom as your I'm feeling sick, I want to watch something silly movie?
No, nothing will replace Doom as I'm feeling sick, I want to watch alien head explode movies. Alright, so, pick the next film.
No, go ahead.
Nathan?
Carry on.
Ooh, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yes!
Ooh,
Oh, I really like
sweet.
this film. I watched it when I was...
I've seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, I watched it
I've
when I was
never
a
seen
kid.
it in English.
I always get
Oh.
it confused with Batteries Are Not Included, so I have no idea which one has which
That's
scene.
the one where the guy gets abducted. With the
I know it's the
alien.
mashed potatoes. This is
Yes.
the mashed
That's the
potatoes.
Yes.
mashed potatoes one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I really like this film.
But that's all I remember.
But I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so it might not hold
Yeah,
up.
I remember
We'll
the
see.
little song and the
Bum,
potatoes.
bum,
And
Well, it's Spielberg, right?
yeah.
We'll see.
means
Close
it's John
Encounters of the
Williams.
Third Kind. We'll be tackling that
Sweet.
in the next few weeks. If you have any thoughts on Metropolis, you can leave them down in the comments below. I sometimes lurk. If you're being a dick, I'll just ignore you.
I might toy with you. Oh my. Not what I meant.
No comment.
That's what she said. Okay, bye, guys.
I don't have enough coffee for this.